You may know the story of the shipping container. You may not. But the story of the shipping container is less about the box itself and more about this frustrated truck driver who realized that moving goods shouldn't be so difficult. Now, before 1956, sort of the late 1950s, early 1960s, global trade was not as simple as it is today. In fact, it has been described as being a chaotic nightmare. So, for centuries, loading a ship, it was like playing Tetris. You've got all of these different shapes, and you're trying to sort of fit them one after another into a ship. We know this as break bulk today. So individual stacks of flour, barrels, crates, etc., were stacked one at a time. Now, it could take weeks to load a single ship, and it was really, really expensive. So it's slow and expensive. I think exact figures, I'm not sure, but I think at least half of the cost of shipping a product abroad was the labor involved in just moving it from the dock onto the ship. So it was labor intensive, it was expensive. It was also very, very risky because all of these things just lying around, they could be dropped, damaged, or liberated by dock workers. Now, in 1937, I think it was, a truck driver was delivering goods to a dock in New Jersey. He was literally waiting for hours and hours and hours while he waited for his truck to be unloaded. And he was looking around at what was going on. He was watching the workers move small batches of cargo from here to here. And his idea, his inspiration was, wouldn't it just be easier to lift my truck up and put it onto the ship? Now, with hindsight, that kind of looks like common sense for you and me today. But all of those years ago, it was innovative. Okay. And it actually took nearly 20 years for this truck driver to turn it into some kind of reality. What he did eventually was he sold his truck and his trucking company, and he bought an old oil tanker. He wanted to test this theory of his. Some point in the late 1950s, 1956, 1957, he didn't just invent a box, this container. He invented a new system. So they designed this sort of steel reinforced box that could be stacked on top of each other and locked. He bought a ship and he sailed from, I think it was New Jersey to Texas. It only carried 58 containers. But the big result was the cost of actually loading the cargo dropped from something like $6 per ton manual labor to $0.16 per ton. So that's 16 cents. So the main message of the shipping container story is that true innovation isn't just about a better product, it's about a better system. So how is this relevant to note-taking? And more importantly, how is this relevant to you and me? For me, my system was all wrong. I took notes and then filed them away for later use. I had no real way to search or find anything again. In truth, those notes that I showed you in those books, they lost all relevance to me once they were separated from the source material. And to be honest with you, mostly I just forgot about them. So this led to me thinking about you and me again, sort of shy, socially awkward people and systems. So think systems, not objects, for a minute. In this sort of scenario, you are the object. You are the container ship. The system is how you interact with other people. So can we create low friction systems that help us deal with interactions better? For me, face-to-face interactions are the worst. So I've started guiding people into side-by-side stance, which for me is more comfortable. I do it by asking them to look at something and then it's very natural for me to move to their side while I'm showing them something. Another way I do this is by asking people to walk with me, walk to the coffee machine, for example, and then you walk side by side. Now, you can also use objects like the Rubik's Cube to move people's attention away from you directly. In short, you can create your own rules or system for how you interact. So next time, don't just mingle and make small talk. I don't know, collect data instead, or hand out documents. Make your interactions purposeful.